When former lovers who share one of the most complicated romantic histories in European royalty come face to face after years of distance and silence, the world takes notice, and what happened recently in the Principality of Monaco proves that some bonds transcend time, controversy, and even the weight of a crown. Picture this scene unfolding in one of the most glamorous locations on Earth, where the Mediterranean sparkles under golden sunlight and where every cobblestone street whispers secrets of one of Europe's most fascinating royal families. This is where Princess Stephanie of Monaco, the youngest daughter of the legendary Princess Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier, recently stood side by side with a man from her past, a reunion that nobody saw coming but everyone is now talking about. Before we dive deep into this captivating story, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like icon, and drop your thoughts in the comments below because you won't want to miss a single detail of what we're about to reveal. Princess Stephanie has always been the wild child of the Grimaldi dynasty, the rebel princess who refused to be confined by palace walls and royal protocols, choosing instead to carve out her own path regardless of what the tabloids printed or what the establishment expected. Born into unimaginable privilege on February 1, 1965, Stephanie Maria Elizabeth Grimaldi grew up in a world where fairy tales were supposed to come true, but her life story reads more like a gripping novel filled with tragedy, passion, scandal, and an unrelenting search for authenticity in a world obsessed with appearances. Unlike her older siblings Caroline and Albert, who largely followed more traditional royal trajectories, Stephanie became known for her modeling career, her pop music ventures, her work with circuses, and most notably, her tumultuous romantic relationships that kept gossip columns busy for decades. She married her bodyguard, dated circus performers, launched fashion lines, opened beach clubs, and through it all maintained a fierce independence that both fascinated and frustrated those who believed a princess should behave a certain way. Enter Jean-Raymond Gottlieb, the man who would become one of the most significant figures in Stephanie's unconventional romantic history. Their relationship began in the late 1990s when Stephanie was already a mother to 2 children from previous relationships, and what started as a passionate romance quickly became something deeper and more complex. Gottlieb was not a prince, not an aristocrat, not someone from the rarefied circles where royals typically find their partners, and perhaps that was precisely the point for Stephanie, who had always been drawn to authenticity over pedigree. Their love affair produced a daughter, Camille Marie Kelly Gottlieb, born on July 15, 1998, a child who would grow up straddling 2 worlds, carrying royal blood but without a royal title because her parents were never married. In the archaic rules that still govern European monarchies, this technicality meant that Camille, despite being the granddaughter of Princess Grace and Prince Rainier, would not be considered part of the official line of succession nor granted the title of princess, a situation that speaks volumes about how outdated royal protocols can be even in the 21st century. The relationship between Stephanie and Gottlieb eventually ended, as many passionate romances do, and for years they maintained separate lives while co-parenting their daughter. The details of their split remained largely private, a rarity in Stephanie's life which had been so thoroughly documented and dissected by media outlets hungry for royal scandal. What we do know is that both parents remained committed to Camille, ensuring she had stability and love even as their romantic relationship dissolved. Fast forward to recent times and the streets of Monaco witnessed something remarkable: Stephanie and Jean-Raymond together again, united not by romance but by something perhaps even more powerful, their shared love for their daughter and their determination to support her at an important moment. The exact nature of the event that brought them together has been the subject of much speculation, with some reports suggesting it was related to Camille's philanthropic work, others hinting at a family celebration, but what matters most is the image of these 2 people, once lovers, now co-parents, standing together with obvious mutual respect and shared purpose. Camille Gottlieb herself has become a fascinating figure in her own right, a young woman who embodies both the privilege and the peculiar challenges of being royal adjacent. At 26 years old, she has carved out a space for herself on social media where she shares glimpses of her life in Monaco, her close relationship with her mother, her humanitarian interests, and her refreshingly normal approach to life despite her extraordinary circumstances. She advocates for organ donation, supports various charitable causes, and maintains a warmth and accessibility that feels genuine in an age of carefully curated celebrity personas. The fact that she carries the Gottlieb surname rather than Grimaldi speaks to the complexity of her position. She is undeniably part of Monaco's first family, yet technically outside its formal structure, a modern royal reality that reflects changing times and evolving definitions of what family means. The reunion of Stephanie and Gottlieb sends a powerful message about mature co-parenting, about putting children first, about the possibility of maintaining respect and even affection for someone who once shared your bed and your dreams even after romantic love has faded. In the rarefied world of royalty, where divorce is still somewhat scandalous and where former partners often become enemies locked in bitter disputes over money, titles, and access, this display of unity and mutual support stands out as remarkably healthy and refreshingly human. It reminds us that underneath the tiaras and the titles, underneath the palace intrigue and the protocol, these are real people navigating the same complicated emotional terrain that millions of divorced or separated parents face every day. The difference, of course, is that when you're a princess and your reunion with your ex happens in Monaco, the whole world watches and speculates about what it all means. Stephanie's life has been marked by an almost defiant rejection of the princess stereotype, from her early days as a rebellious teenager who was in the car when her mother Princess Grace died in that tragic accident in 1982, to her various career attempts that ranged from modeling to music to fashion design, to her romantic choices that consistently shocked the establishment. She married Portuguese acrobat Adans Lopes Perez and had 2 children before that marriage ended. She dated elephant trainer Franconi. She became involved with another circus performer, and through it all she maintained her independence and her right to live life on her own terms. Critics called her reckless, admirers called her brave, but everyone agreed that Stephanie was unlike any other royal, a woman who valued authenticity and passion over duty and decorum, who would rather be genuine and criticized than fake and celebrated. The Grimaldi family has long been the subject of intense fascination, partly because of the Hollywood connection through Princess Grace, partly because of the tiny principality's outsized glamour and wealth, and partly because this family has experienced more than its fair share of tragedy, scandal, and drama. From the curse that supposedly plagues the family and prevents true love from lasting, to the struggles of Prince Albert to produce a legitimate heir while acknowledging multiple children born outside marriage, to Caroline's tumultuous romantic history, the Grimaldis have given the world endless material for gossip and speculation. Stephanie's reunion with Gottlieb is just the latest chapter in this ongoing saga, but it's a chapter that feels different, more mature, less about scandal and more about family, less about rebellion and more about responsibility. What this public appearance together signals is perhaps a shift in priorities for Stephanie, who is now in her late 50s and who has watched her daughter grow into a confident young woman. The wild princess who once seemed to court controversy now appears focused on being a supportive mother, maintaining positive relationships with her children's fathers, and building a legacy that extends beyond tabloid headlines. Gottlieb too deserves recognition for showing up, for being present in his daughter's life, for demonstrating that being a good father doesn't require a royal title or palace residence, it simply requires showing up with love and consistency. Their reunion in Monaco to support Camille is a testament to their growth, their maturity, and their shared commitment to putting their daughter's well-being above any lingering awkwardness or past hurts. Monaco itself serves as the perfect backdrop for this story, a place where fairy tale romance has always coexisted with very real human drama, where unimaginable wealth and privilege create both opportunities and pressures, where being royal means living in a fishbowl where every choice, every relationship, every public appearance is scrutinized and analyzed. For Camille, growing up in this environment without the formal protections and privileges of a title must have presented unique challenges, but having 2 parents who can put aside their differences and come together for her sends a message about what truly matters in life. Love evolves, relationships change, romance fades, but family endures when people choose to make it work, when they prioritize connection over ego, when they recognize that the greatest gift they can give their children is not money or status but rather the security of knowing that both parents love them and can be in the same room without drama or tension. As we watch this story unfold and see the images of Stephanie and Gottlieb together again in Monaco supporting their beloved daughter, we're reminded that even in the most extraordinary circumstances, even in the world of European royalty with all its antiquated rules and rigid protocols, the fundamental human needs for love, respect, family, and connection remain universal. This reunion isn't about rekindling romance or making tabloid headlines. It's about two people who once loved each other deeply enough to create a life together, who have grown and changed and moved forward, but who can still come together with grace and maturity to celebrate and support the beautiful young woman they both cherish. In a world that often celebrates drama and dysfunction, there's something profoundly moving about this display of healthy co-parenting and mutual respect. So here's the question that we're left pondering as this chapter in the Stephanie Gottlieb Camille story continues to unfold. In an age where royal families are increasingly scrutinized for their relevance and questioned about their place in modern society, could it be that the greatest service Princess Stephanie provides to the monarchy is not through traditional duty and protocol, but rather through her very human example of living authentically, making mistakes, learning, growing, and showing that it's possible to maintain dignity and respect even after romance ends? And isn't that ultimately a more valuable lesson than any carefully orchestrated royal appearance could ever provide?